to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start this morning recognizing Elliott Holmes representative to address issues with Audubon Acres subdivision and the cease and desist order. Good morning.
Hi.
Now, we said Audubon Acres, but it's Audubon Lake, right?
Audubon Lake, correct.
Audubon Lakes, okay.
Yeah.
Claudine, if we could just fix that.
That's printed pictures for
Thank
every year.
you. And if you would give us your name and address, please.
My name's Dan Strom. I'm the Vice President of Production at Elliott Homes. My address is 13088 John Lee Road in Biloxi.
Thank you.
We're requesting the cease and desist order be lifted on our project in Audubon Lakes, and I wanted to apologize for missing the last meeting. I planned to attend. I'm new to the area, and I did not know that the meetings alternated to Biloxi and Gulfport. So I'm sorry about that. I was fully intended to be at that meeting. So I've met with Mrs. Garcia a couple times on the property. She's claiming that you know, the water from our property has damaged her property, and I want to kind of go over some photos and some documentation that we've had. Our land manager that was here at the beginning of the construction project's no longer with us, so I've got as much documentation as I can. Also have Bill Niesel as our civil engineer of record. He's familiar with the case too, so we have questions for him, he's available too. But this first photo, and I don't know if you can, if you're able to show it on that drive there. Is this, or do I have control?
Claudine, were you trying to pull it up, or I saw you put it in that drive? Okay.
So,
Those are my photos.
And that's why Kate.
That's my photos. We're talking about his
yeah,
his
the
photos
drive,
we gave her.
yeah, the blue one,
Mhm.
that one. So, just going over the first few videos, you don't have to open them. I just want to refer to the dates. Those are from May of 22, the first four. And those are the ones with the, if you recall from the last meeting where the, you know, the volume of water was crossing our property. So that's how long ago this was. So since that time, I think the question is, you know, we've been kind of accused of not doing anything, and that's not the case. We've worked on this issue when it was brought to our attention. And if you look at that one underneath there, underneath number 4, the video number 4, yeah, that's the grade, you know, at that point in time. That's from Mrs. Garcia, you know, so that point in time it was kind of just graded from her property back up, and so we hadn't really got into the and I think we probably, I wasn't there, we may have had a breach in silt fence at the time on a heavy rain, but if you can go to the next video. So since that time, you know, we built off the approved design from Bill Niesel to put in a ditch or a pond behind her property. And if you look on that next one, yeah, that's a daily report from this year. And if you scroll down to the very bottom, of the page. This is the daily report completed by a contractor, and he was finishing some work, and this is May of 23. So now I'll show you some other photos.
Sorry.
Some other photos of, you know, the ditch, how it is, but that's, you know, so May 23, we were doing some, you know, modifications, and I'm sure that was, you know, approved or worked with Bill, our engineer, and so the ditch is installed per the design that was approved by the county, the area behind our property. So if you want to go to the next photo.
Within this document? Or?
You can close that, yeah, thanks. So the next few photos, and these are in your packet, will show you the area itself. So it's pretty, you know, it's about a 3.5 foot high berm between our property and her property to divert the water down towards the south end of the property and away from both of our properties. But if you just kind of page through those next pages, it's about 12 feet wide, and you can see it's like clearly diverting the water away from her home. And so the photos or videos that she had from May 22, this has been what's been implemented since then. And if you just keep going, you can kind of see it's, like I mentioned, it's like at least about 12 foot wide, about 3.5 feet high in most areas. And then so it'd be pretty hard for the water to get up and over the berm onto our property. Yeah, keep going, please. There's Bill, our engineer. You kind of get a perspective of how high that is. Definitely keep going. This is the end of the property, and that's Mrs. Garcia's properties into the left. So this is the outfall that was done, that they worked on in May of 23. And so it goes to the right of the yellow tape is her neighbor's property. So the water's diverted down there and to the right. If you want to go to the next slide. And so this photo's right by her property. Mrs. Garcia's properties right in this area. That's her house right behind here. And this is a kind of a swale that was dug in here, and you can kind of see there's really no erosion right here. If we were having a major erosion issue coming out of the yard, this would all be eroded because all the water is coming down this way and then headed down to the south. So this would be eroded right here, which it's not. If you could go to the next photo. There's another picture of the ditch, sorry. Thanks for doing this too, by the way.
And what date was all of that completed?
Like I mentioned, like
Okay.
that last part was May of 23, but the ditch before that, I wasn't here, and our land manager's gone. Talking to Bill, he thought maybe it was like June and July of last year, the major part of the ditch. This is a kind of give you an idea of her property. This is her front yard. You know, as you drive into their home, our property is directly behind there, so it's a really good slope from the back of her property towards the front. So if you could just go to the next one, just kind of gives you a different perspective of the incline that's at her property. So the area we're kind of talking about is up behind those vehicles back there, but it's a really good incline back down to the main part of the road. This is her backyard. So our property's just to the left there, and that's the 3 foot tall ditch is behind her property. So if you want to go to, and the one thing I want to kind of point out here is like there's some recommendations that I have for Mrs. Garcia as we're out on her property. We want to help her any way we can. We're not here to take advantage or anything, but there are some issues that she has that she needs that I recommend that she works on, because she complained about the roots and stuff that were exposed out in this area. And if you can see the sun by the tree right there, this is really shady. It's really shady. Grass does not grow well in shade. And when the grass doesn't grow, the roots, the dirt will erode from rain. And if you saw that picture before, it's all sloped back towards the south. So with no grass there, the dirt's gonna erode. So I recommend that you plant some kind of a grass that's works well with shade, like a fine fescue grass, or do other type of landscaping to try to keep her roots from being exposed. But her whole backyard over here, you can see it's all shade. And if you could go to the next picture. So here's kind of one of the other problems with her property is it's sloped directly to her mobile home. And there's no diversion at all from any rainwater that lands on her property from the back part of the property that comes towards the mobile home. There's no diversion of it. It goes right to and under her mobile home. And it, as far as I know, I think she's been there since 1978, and it's done that since then. So if you want to go to the next photo. So here's right by the front of her home, and you can see there's no swale and no ditch. There's nothing. It's like the water's always drained there. And I'm not saying we didn't have an issue before, which we addressed, we fixed. But this I highly recommend for her to create a swale in this area, divert water going from her towards her mobile home.
Anything else?
Yeah, if you want to keep going a little bit. Yeah, this is just a letter from the county that kind of talks about, the finish, and this is not for her, but other builders or people that build. Finished floor elevation shall not be, kind of read it, shall be at elevation sufficiently above the adjacent ground elevation to promote drainage and resistant flooding. So that's something that the county, tries to talk to homeowners about too, and that's what we recommend too, and that's what I recommend to her to do as well. And that's kind of about it. I have one other slide there, maybe it didn't show up there. She mentions, can you go back to the menu? Can you scroll down, please, to the very bottom? Yeah, the letter to Mrs. Powers. Yeah, if you scroll down to the highlighted area. She sent a letter, I think in August, Mrs. Powers. I have a pipe leaking under the trailer that's going in insulation. She can't see the pipes because it's between the floor and insulation, and she's claiming that that's caused by us, and I don't really see how that could happen. I have a plumber that I can recommend that can go there and fix it, but if the plumbing is leaking underneath her mobile home and between the insulation and the floor, it will damage the floor above it because of the moisture, and it's warping her floor. So I have a plumber that I could recommend to go out there and take a look at it and fix it, but I don't think it's related to the water. That's all I have unless you have questions, but we'd really like to request the cease and desist.
I have a few
over
questions.
here. Yeah, go ahead.
I asked when the swell and the ditch, the remediation was completed. You said maybe June or July of last year, but I wasn't here.
Yeah.
So who was here?
I was here, but.
What's your name and address, please?
Bill Niesel,
Okay.
980 Courthouse Road, apartment 901.
So when this remediation, quote unquote, was completed, she has not had any relief. We've seen videos of flooding and her house is tilting. You said it's been a problem since 1978. Again, you weren't here then.
Well, she
But
mentioned that she leveled her mobile home 5 times.
She's leveled it many times,
No,
but this
no, I did
time.
not.
She also said y'all went on her land without authority. That's another thing that I wanted to ask about.
I can address all those, but I'd like to just add a few more items to what Dan said.
Okay.
The natural drainage before everything was built, it drains from what is now Elliott Homes property, this project, eastward, southeastward, across Ms. Garcia's land. Now, when their subdivision, it's not a platted subdivision, but when those lots were put in, a ditch was installed north and south along our common property line, but on Ms. Garcia's property. And that was obviously done to avoid to intercept the water that was coming from what is now the Elliott Homes property and send it south of her southwest property line to cut it off before it got to her house, the videos you've seen. And that ditch is inoperable in some places, and it is very shallow, more of a swale, but it's got leaves and roots and trees growing up in it. It's well formed in some places as far as taking a small amount of water, but in other places the water's going to jump out of it because of the ground is built up. And so, in addition to that, when this project, these ponds are put in, they intercept all of the water coming from 100% of the water coming to that property line from Elliott Homes, and except for what little bit comes in, I guess maybe 10 or 15 feet from the berm that Ansel showed you, and that will continue to drain, but it will be getting into that ditch that's on Ms. Garcia's property. The ponds are not, it's not a remediation, it's part of the design. And the design was, we started the project under approval. We started this project back in 2004. So at that time, the county didn't have detention pond requirements, and we continued with that, with those previous approvals. But Ms. Turner, during this project, wanted us to put detention ponds in, so we stopped and designed those ponds. And so there's been no remediation. There's been nothing that we reacted to. We put the ponds in, and they're working as they should. So just in summary of that, all of the water before any of these projects were built, all of the water that used to come to Ms. Garcia's property is now going south to the south corner of the common property line, common property corner with Elliott Homes and Ms. Garcia. The complaint about digging on her property, that ditch was dug by a previous owner, by somebody when those houses were built apparently, and it continues to the property to the south. There's 4 pieces of property that meet at that location. And so it continues to the south, and it was obviously dug, and it should be accessible, available to anybody whose drainage goes that direction.
You said it was dug by someone else?
Well, we don't know who dug it, but it was, it's been there. Whoever put the ditch in that's on Ms. Garcia's property, in order for that ditch to work, it had to be continued to the south past that property, past her property. So
that's when y'all went on her property without her permission?
well, what it is all we did was our drainage is low enough to it has to be lower than our ground in order to catch the water,
Yeah.
and it's just tying into that ditch. That's all it is. It's just tying into the ditches at that corner. So if that, I'm not an attorney, I don't know if there's prescriptive rights on using the ditches already there. It's not natural drainage, but it's something, but it would, if Ms. Garcia, if that remains an issue with her, then that would be something that she and Dan would have to work out about, about getting legal opinions about what the rights are to tie into that ditch. I think that's seems to be everything.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Garcia,
Okay.
come up here, please.
Okay, first of all, what I would like to say is that,
Give me your address quickly, I'm
okay,
sorry.
14409 Bay Circle, Gulfport, Mississippi.
And it's Alberta with a V, Garcia.
Okay.
Okay.
We have lived there since 1978. Those pictures that he was showing you were my pictures. The ones where he said that he had told me about my backyard, that my roots were showing. Well, I've got pictures here from 2017, 14, 15, and 16 that show my backyard, and it shows no roots. That tree I planted, that tree back there that he was talking about that puts all that shade out, I planted when I moved there in 1978. And what this is showing my backyard, and you can't see the top of his property from my backyard from right there, but that's how high he built that property up. And that little bitty ditch that he was talking about that they dug there the first time, they didn't correct that until, according to him, May of 2023. All those rains took place last year that flooded my property. We haven't had any rain out there this year. Okay, can you move it to the next one, please? I'm sorry.
Can I interject, or do I want to wait?
I'm gonna let you speak at the end if you want to take notes about what you'd
Sure.
like to address,
Yeah.
or what she says. While we're waiting for that, Ms. Garcia, when did they do they were going to fix your mobile home a little?
Well, that's what Michael Bottoms had told me, is that they would take care of, because at that point, my mobile home needed to be leveled, okay? And that was back in April of 2022 when I talked to him. And I didn't hear back from Michael Bottoms for a while. We talked, I think, in that letter I sent to you, we had talked a couple of times.
So they never came in and
They never
did
came in and did
assuring?
anything.
They've
Okay,
not-
now, Mr. Strom came to my house last week, him and Mr. Niesel, and they told me that because I live on a hill, okay, water runs downhill, all right? And just like he said, they have said that the water runs downhill and it's going to affect my home. Well, I've lived in a mobile home on that property since 1978. And my neighbor, Mr. Stewart and Mr. Hingle can attest, well, Mr. Stewart can because he's lived there for 35 years, about 35 years,
Okay.
okay? I've never had that issue with the runoff before, and as y'all saw in the videos and my pictures, that water's orange. I don't have no orange dirt in my yard for it to run orange like that. So I've never had that kind of runoff before, okay? This is showing their property back there, that how the little rivers did on their property. If you can move it again. I just do this one picture, this one thing here,
What are the dates of those pictures?
okay?
I'm sorry?
The dates of those photos?
Those
What are the
were,
Excuse me, I can't understand what you're saying.
What are the dates of these photos?
y'all got it, these were the first ones that I sent to Michael Bottoms back in March or April of last year, 2022.
Thank you.
Okay? I'd like to get, is it this one here you told me to hit? That would
Yes,
advance it?
statement button.
Okay, that's some more. This is the first retention pond, or the first silt that they put up. This is what they had back in May of last year. Okay, as you can see, the water that has gathered there, in a few places it breached it and came over and caused the issues. Okay? This again is showing, this is standing there showing the height of it. All right? And this is back behind. This is the one that they first dug out a little bit of, okay? And that's their silk fence. And you can see all the debris that washes up in here, and that killed that. It knocked that fencing over, okay? That's what they had built back in May of 2022, okay? There's just more. That's part of that ditch that they had built back in 2022, May. That's when these pictures are from. Now this is where the intersection, if you look on the pieces that one thing that I gave you, this is where that all comes to a corner. That's their drainage ditch, or I don't know what the proper technology is, or terminology is. But that, all the water from those two meet there in that corner and go through that. Okay.
Is that an outfall box right there? Is that
Yes.
Okay. So that's your outfall area, but your outfall is higher than your,
Right.
Not now, though. That's
Yeah,
all.
this is the current, this is what I just took. I took this past couple weeks ago is what I took. When did we go out there, on Sunday, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I think it was a Sunday.
Yeah, and I took this picture. This is my house, this is my shed back here. Okay, you can tell how close that is, that's my shed back there.
I agree that that's current. I was looking at the
It
wrong
can't
spot.
go uphill either.
Yeah.
The water.
Not really. I can address that.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. Alright. And I'm trying to get to my pictures. See, this is, you can tell where their fencing has fallen in, has fallen down, okay? That's the beginning of it, where the coldest, or their underground piping or drainage comes into the beginning of it. Alright. Come on, I wanna get back. He didn't get my pictures of my property. Wow. Okay. I do have pictures of, I can't believe he did that. Can I put a USB drive in there to connect?
We only have a few more minutes, Ms.
Okay.
Garcia, we
Well,
just have to move
I'll
on.
get those to you, but I have pictures of my property from 2017.
You have the pictures from the previous board meeting. if you have-
Yeah, but it doesn't have those pictures on it, and I had told him that that's what I wanted him to show them and to prove that my property did not look like that in the backyard, okay?
All right, so you'll get us pictures from 2017 showing the state of everything?
2016, 2014 to 2017, I've got pictures. We used to have a family reunion in our back property, all right, and so I have all those pictures. Unfortunately, most of them are of people and not of my yard, but I do have some of my yard. All of this did not happen before they started building this back here. Now, he came over to my house last Wednesday, him and Mr. Niesel, and they kept insisting that water falls down on the back of my property, and that rolls down, and it causes what's happening underneath my house. Now, there's 72 feet, because I measured it, from my house to the edge of my property. I cannot tell you how steep of the drop it is, okay? But 45 years of living there, I've never had it wash out like that at all, period. Also, in the package that you've got, there's a copy of when I had my trailer leveled the last time. That was December of 2020. I thought I had gone into January of 2021, but it was actually in December of 2020, December the 15th, that I had to have it leveled, and that was after Zeta, okay? I have never had this problem before. I had to have my level trailer after Katrina, which was in 2005, and after Isaac, which was in 2012. I bought that trailer in 1998. They told me they wanted to know what it would take for them to get this, for me to come up here and tell y'all that I knew they fixed it. Well, I want them to fix my house that was damaged due to theirs neglect, or whatever you want to call it, okay, in building this.
These two invoices say about $2,500 total to level your home?
To level
Is that
and
accurate?
skirting.
Level and skirting,
Level.
$2,500.
Right, the leveling was $950. Usually when you have a trailer leveled, you have to redo the skirting because of that, okay? But the pictures that y'all saw the last time of the damage up underneath my house, if you look in there, there's one real good picture in there that shows the pipe that I was telling him about. And I showed him a picture of that pipe, okay? It goes up over some piece of.
I think you're alleging that the pipe is broken because your house is unleveled? Is that what you're trying to say?
And it's not, the pipe is not between the insulation and my floorboard. The pipe is up underneath the insulation. You got the floor, and then you've got the insulation here, and the pipe is down up underneath it, okay?
Okay.
And you can see the angle that pipe is now. And so, I mean,
Thank you. I think we've heard enough. We're going to let you respond. 5 minutes, please.
One of the things I want to, should have said last time on the timing, it was either June or July that Ms. Turner approved the plans for the detention ponds that we added. So any of the work would have been done after that. all of the photos and videos that Ms. Garcia showed last meeting and today that show drainage. She showed some current photos, but that show drainage water moving were from before this work started for the detention pond. And it's just a fact that all of the drainage that comes from Elliott's property, again, except for just a little bit between the top of the berm and the property line, is diverted completely past her property. It's completely cut off and goes to that corner where we tied into the existing ditch. Now,
Bill, if I can interrupt you just a minute.
excuse me?
We haven't had any rain since y'all did the remediation of the redoing and the detention pond. The test will remain when we start getting some significant rains as to whether what you're doing will work or not.
Yes.
That's what you basically, I assume that's what you
So
say.
this is the data from rainfall in Gulfport for the last 14 months. And there's been, this is Gulfport in general, 34 times it's rained over half an inch of rain, 14 times it's rained over an inch of rain. That's from the data from the weather.gov. So it's
We all
actually-
live here, we know that it has not rained like it has past summers,
Compared to
so
what it does. in
his
last
point
year.
is valid.
But that's the information that I have.
And I know that's not, but let's get a significant amount of rain in a short period of time, which sometime
I
we
can
get
address that.
and see.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
So you built the subdivision, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Built the
loud.
subdivision and is it in a watershed area? Was it a
It was
watershed?
really at the top of the hill. It's not in a watershed. Everything's in a watershed, but it's at the top of the hill with that.
Yeah, but
Address your question.
did you do a study or find out how much water is coming off of there and then going into her?
Oh, yeah, that's part of the design, and we have a tree post. It's below the previous flow. Yes, we did that. So-
Okay, how much was it and has that changed? Have
Oh,
you done-
I did watch the video. I was on vacation for the last meeting also, and went in late. But Mr. Hingle in that video had said that we had changed the direction of the water that used to go another direction. That is just not true. It's just absolutely factually false. I went in and verified it since then, in the meantime, and looked at all the maps and the drainage areas, compared it to our existing design, where all the pipes and all the slopes go, compared it to the natural, and it's
You
just,
directed that outfall that was sticking high and that you connected it?
I think it's an optical illusion. That outlet box with the rock behind it, that rock is just to stabilize, to keep water from going across at that location and washing out the outlet pipe. The actual emergency overflow is, we call it emergency, that's just the term for it, but the high water overflow was to the left of that location. It's just wide and level, and that's, as intended. On Mr. Ladner's point, I really have to defer, the county engineer approved it, and I think she, can't speak for her, but my understanding is that we understand that it's been installed with good engineering, whatever. And you can't wait for the maximum event to happen before you start using something,
No, that's not what I meant. I'm
Okay.
just saying we hadn't had enough rain to determine.
But some things
Whether what
some
you've
things
done
may
is
require
still
a lot of judgment or something about it, but this is
Right.
this is burned that Mr. Strong showed photos of, and it completely cuts off the water and takes it down to that corner. So there's just a little bit of, a tiny bit of water from the berm to the property line on Elliott's Lane going in that direction.
All right, thank you, guys. We're gonna hear from the county engineer. Now, do you have one more point?
I do, and I wanted to avoid duplicating what Mr. Strom said earlier, but I have only 5 copies of this. But this is our house, the location where the video shows water rushing down underneath her wooden deck there. And it would be that one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, what is happening here is this location, the dark side, the dark portion right next to the wood on the left part of the photo
Yeah.
there. That's where the water goes under her house.
Right.
And the slope is this direction. And there's a stringer there that is going under a beam, and it's completely blocked, all, going to the right. That water should be shedded to the right. And over time, and Ms. Garcia showed us, you can't see it here, but it leaves over it. But there's some rectangular concrete stepping blocks that they put there, and they are right where the drain should be. It should be a swale dug across there, and that is the reason that the water is going under the house. And Mr. Strom did not elaborate when he described it, but there should be about some swelling and some grading work that needed to be done. But that would go from the left side, or the middle of the photo, from the left middle up to the upper right, alongside their port, that deck there, to shed the water away. Now that has nothing to do with the quantity of water. It just shows that any water that gets there would
But
happen.
those have been there since 2002.
So the photos that she showed and the videos she showed of rain happened. That's before this pond was
Okay.
finished.
Thank you. Jackie, would you join us, please? Everybody put your phones on mute, silent, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Jackie. What's the latest? Do you think they've done remediation? Do you
So,
think-
backing up to 30,000 foot level, the videos, the flooding, all the damaging photos were back in 2022. There was absolutely a large rain event that, we saw breached the berm. The detention pond area did not function as intended, and it definitely did have a lot of runoff come across the property off to the east. We responded quickly to that, and we believe that they have remediated the pond and the berm to where that should not happen again. There are 4 different detention ponds on this property, so there's 4 different discharge points, and that is very common. When we look at a drainage analysis of a development, we look at where the water has always run, and then we look at where it comes across property lines, and our regulations require that you don't increase flood for a 25-year storm at those points. So anywhere where it crosses the property line, if you increase the runoff, you put a detention pond or some other function that will slow the water down and keep it from running off. So this is one of the 4 ponds, and this is the one that's at the southeast corner, where the water has essentially always run off to the east, and it's not been a huge amount because that property is somewhat at the top of the hill, but that water has always come down that side. And now there is a detention pond where that berm is that holds the water inside and discharges at the bottom corner. So instead of running all the way down and then through that ditch between the 2 properties, it goes to the south and then across at the bottom end. We believe
I guess
that.
what you're saying, Jackie, is the point that I was trying to make, that we haven't had any rains, or a significant amount of rain to test the efficacy of their remediation. And the ponds and the burn. We haven't had it. The only thing that you have is engineering figures that based on calculations, it should have.
Well, and
That's
there
what
was a
you're
low
saying.
point.
We haven't had the practical
Right.
application of water flowing off that property to see if in fact it stops the issues that
There
she had
was
with
a
her.
low point prior to them fixing it that has been fixed, so the berm is back up at the high point where it's supposed to be that'll direct it. So there was a structural problem before this, and the soil was not stabilized, which has been fixed. But you're correct, we've not had that kind of gully washer. After the last meeting, we had that little tropical event that was coming through, and we
But
had
it
people,
wasn't.
we had some rain.
At my
We had
house.
people, everybody involved had people out there looking at it, and it basically sucked the water right down into the dirt. There really wasn't any way to make it be tested. I think fundamentally the question though is, in '22 when this happened, I think everybody agrees, water breached, a lot of water, a lot of orange water, a lot of sediment came across that property line and impacted Ms. Garcia's property. My opinion is that they've resolved that where it should not happen again, and I think the question is whether anything's been done to fix the damage that was caused. I think that there is a long-term problem with where that water's gonna go, because that is not a public ditch that travels from there, and if it gets blocked up or is blocked up, it's gonna back up.
I mean, I would think that we would have to defer to legal about the damages, because I don't think, you know, what we're hearing today decided to withdraw the
Can I say one more
cease and
thing?
desist order. Any damages done to her property, I guess, as legal, that's between them and the property owner, the developer and the property owner, not Harrison County.
However, if they agree to pay the $2,500 and level her property, then that would speak kindly. I mean, that would make us
Well,
feel
that's up to
okay
them.
that the structural, and hopefully what she said is right, it's been remediated and it won't happen anymore.
But I guess what I'm saying is the board has to make a decision whether, and we'd have to base it on our county engineers'
Yeah.
estimations that they did correct it.
And I
that
think
it would-
in moving forward, we would absolutely be targeting that spot for
And
one place
watching
that
it.
we're at
Keep an
every
eye
time
on
it
it,
rains.
yeah.
Exactly,
And we have a
watching it.
handful of those that we do, and this would absolutely be
Right.
one of those.
But any damages would be, I would assume, and I defer to legal, that's between the property owner and the developer,
It's a private matter.
private matter.
But one thing I did want to get into though is that ditch that everybody's talking about that goes along the property line. If that is blocked or filled in, it's not a public ditch, it's not a county ditch. If that gets blocked or that flow gets blocked, it could impact these properties as well, because the property from Audubon Lake comes this way, and then there's a ditch that comes this way. So if this ditch doesn't relieve, it's gonna back
It's
and
gonna
go this
back up
way.
over.
So that's another piece of the puzzle, I guess.
Did they fill? Why is it so high? Was it naturally that high?
It was
Or we allowed
always-
them to fill?
It was always a big hill, and along that property line, they've put a detention pond that holds it, so on the back side of that is the berm. So that
But
holds the
how high
water.
do we allow them to go up? Because she's shaking her head no, that it was not that high before, that we allowed them to build
It's
up.
a berm, it's a ridge that holds where the water
No,
is
I mean
coming
where
down
they're
and
gonna be allowed to
catches it.
build.
Oh, that's way back behind that.
That was already that high.
It's
She's shaking her
probably
head
up a
no.
couple feet back
Berm
there.
to protect her from.
Yeah, but besides the berm, I'm talking about if those houses are built up here,
They're probably going up a couple feet in there with their.
so we did
their
allow them to
slabs.
fill, to build houses higher than the other houses around them.
I could stand on my property and see the pond down there, that one natural pond down there. I can't see nothing now.
But yes, I mean, there's a berm that was holding the water, but then yes, the house slabs, and that is very typical. They build slabs up above where the road is. And if you've been to this property where her house
Yeah,
is
I've
literally
driven by.
18 to 20 feet below the natural grade here, so yes, they're gonna be higher than her.
Mr.
I
Newsom?
just will, just to clarify that, anytime you build a house, a subdivision, you put the road in, and you make sure the house is above the road, typically. And then, you have a flat spot for the house, and if it's on a hill that slopes to the back, then then you slope that down.
Right.
But all of this area meets the natural grade, it goes behind the house, it meets the natural grade before it gets to the pond, so. And then the thing in their photo, again, Jackie said, that she said it was, the
Okay,
land
so
built up,
you- thank you.
that was the berm.
You believe there was a structural problem, it did cause the damage, but you think it's been remediated, but we won't know for sure if it works until another big rain.
The only thing I believe it caused some damage. There's no way for me to say how
Right.
much it caused or not, but I do believe it caused some damage on the
Yeah.
property. yes.
But the remediation is designed to handle a certain amount of rain within a certain amount of time, isn't that right?
Right, and again, yes, our requirements are that it does not increase the flow for a 25-year storm unless we know there's some excessive drainage issue. If you have a 100, 200-year storm, if you have another Katrina come through,
Oh,
it's damaged property already, it probably still will. But for the
We-
typical 25-year storm,
20.
we believe it's been remediated where it should operate correctly.
yeah.
And
The ditch
again,
that-
we'll continue to watch it.
That ditch that they keep talking about tying into,
Uh-huh.
okay, when we moved in there in '78, we had that ditch dug. Okay, that was us doing that. We built that ditch back there, all right? And that, the way they've tied into that ditch, all that water from their little drainage system It's gonna come right out there and it's gonna hit the wall to that ditch. And it's not but like a foot and a half, maybe 2 foot deep at the most there.
Thank you. Do you know the ditch she's talking about? Is there water going into that ditch?
That's where the outflow comes. That's the ditch that I'm talking about, from where the slope naturally occurs, and there's a ditch coming this way, which would intercept the water from that hill. It was already there before it gets to her house. That would run to the south. And so rather than everything continuing to come sheet flow, they catch it in a pond, come to the bottom of it, and discharge it here, which is the same amount that was coming down the hill before.
Okay, all right,
It's
thank you.
also
I think
well
we've
below.
spent an hour on this. We need to move on. We've got a long agenda. All right, board, anybody have anybody want to make a motion, or do you want to table it till we can investigate more? Or do you want to see if they'll get?
I would like to speak. What we need to get her recommendation as far as the cease and desist order, Jackie.
I do want to give Mr. Hingle 5 minutes. Could you do this in 5 minutes, Mr. Hingle? I know you've been very concerned. He owns the property, what, next to Ms.
He owns it
Garcia?
downstream.
I'm downstream.
You're downstream.
Point of entry for water previously was 14 feet lower than Ms. Garcia's property. And when that volume of water comes down her driveway, it picks up a lot of damaging velocity, and it is eroding the soil from my new home that I built my home on. There's several issues here. They designed and built a U-shaped, what they call a detention pond, and it captures all the water most of the water in the subdivision that they built here, and it diverts it to a single discharge point. Previously, the natural water drainage was between Ms. Garcia's and Mr. Stewart's property, that it was called the natural branch there. That's totally blocked off now. The discharge point now in the southeast corner does come up high enough to come across Ms. Garcia's property there and come down her property and cause the damages to me. One thing here that's not discussed, the fact that this water is now being diverted across Ms. Garcia's property somewhat and now south to another third-party person, does that make it right for that third party who's not here to represent themselves to discharge, water that wasn't, that they had not received before? And the problem I have with that is the water goes on that south property and comes back around to me before it hits Canal Road and does damage for me. Regarding the excavations on Ms. Garcia's property, they don't know who put it in, they're alleging that. But I mean, they put a seeded mat down there and all, a continuous seeded mat and all, and the fill that has been excavated across our property is all dumped right there, fresh fill and all that. But I mean, they're alleging a third party come in and put grass matting down on their property and across Ms. Garcia's property, and they don't know who did that. Something's not right there.
Yeah, and that was done in May of this year.
When I look at the overall site phase 3 there, they kind of leveled it out. The street takes the volume of water and discharge, takes it onto two, I want to say, culverts, drain basins, and into a culvert discharges into this U-shaped pond, which collects the majority of the water and discharges to a single point. I submitted to you guys another copy, a large copy of a 2018 U.S. Geological Survey map. And you guys can see on that map where the natural drainage was previously going southwest. All the blue lines showing swamp areas and showing a drainage canal back there. Now, I'm not alleging that all the water went back there, but the greatest percentage of water in that area went down to the southeast corner there. Anything in blue there indicates water and swampland there. And they have a natural drainage canal, a ditch there now that can handle it. But I mean, the volume now, the collection of water, since that natural ridge was leveled out and bisected at the south end of it there by a collection pond, and the single point of discharge now is different than what it was previously before they came in. The natural branch that was there before lots 10 and 11 between Mr. Stewart and Ms. Garcia is totally blocked off now by the berm that they created. So the topography is totally altered now to singly discharge water across Ms. Garcia and a third party who's not here to represent themselves. And it's not right to say that this third party has no rights either, but they're just not here. They're not aware of the problem. But anyway, my issue is that the water comes down her driveway her driveway is 10, I measured it, I took surveying equipment out there the other day and I measured, her driveway has a 10-foot drop on it. By the time water comes down, the volume of water comes down her driveway, it picks up a lot of velocity, and that velocity comes down across the front of my property and causes damages for me. And
How do
I
I
don't want
identify that berm that you're talking about, so we can get Jackie to go check the berm that you're alleging is blocked?
The natural branch that was there between lots 10 and 11, Garcia's property and all, is totally blocked off by the berm that they created.
The berm that they created. Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Rainbow. All right, we need to move on. Does the board have any wish? And Jackie, would you please check on that berm that he's talking about that's blocked?
When should we decide whether or not, when should we decide cease and desist?
Hey, this is what they have for today, I think.
Bad.
Today or?
When do we?
Can I just real quickly address
2 weeks ago.
Mr. Engel's comments? Real quick.
What, do y'all want
We
to?
can't go.
We can't
Can't keep
continue. I mean, we've been a solid hour on one thing.
Not true,
A couple
but
weeks
you
ago,
said-
I guess. The cease and desist order, she's asking when was it issued?
2 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago at the last meeting.
3 weeks ago.
And do you feel like
And what
do you
you
feel
like
like
to
they
do?
have, do you feel like they have they've done whatever they can do, or they're gonna to take care of it?
As far as the drainage, the berm being resolved, I believe we've checked it and we believe that it is gonna function correctly. How you wanna proceed with the interaction between Elliot and Ms. Garcia is your discretion.
I think that is out of our hands. That would have to be up to,
Right.
am I correct?
I think we made that
I've
clear.
checked with their attorney that those issues that y'all would have to get together with them, I would think. That's a
Yeah, but we're
civil
gonna
issue.
make Miss Garcia pay for a lawyer and all that shit. They know that. They
No.
know. I mean, let's be honest.
No,
I mean,
I'm being very honest.
No, I'm not saying, no, I'm not saying you're not being honest. I'm just saying, I don't feel comfortable. I would rather y'all make an agreement. We said it was a structural problem and I believe, caused this damage. For $2,500 for you to fix what's going on, and then we'll keep an eye that it's okay. Would you agree to do that for her with her mobile home falling, excuse me? Would you
Mr.
agree to
Strong
that
has
so we
asked
can
me to
move
respond
forward?
for him. What you
Just
say,
that
you
that's
believe
out
is
of our
structural damage.
Well, no, but
that-
if they agree to do that, then it helps her, and then we can keep an eye on if it was remediated.
And
or
I
not.
agree that it's really between two private parties, not the county, but if the county's gonna consider it in this decision, the structural damage that's been referred to is caused by the water, by the way they have graded the yard or the way it's built up. It's caused by the water being
But listen-
funneled to their property.
That's
by
not what
their
we're
grade.
talking, that's not what I asked. Would y'all be willing to do $2,500 to level this poor lady's home that has been, she's lived there since 1978. We've seen the videos of the water rushing in.
It's caused by their drainage of their yard, the way your yard is
Yeah,
graded.
you're not willing,
No,
obviously. You're obviously
No,
not
I'm
willing.
just-
Wait.
I'm just trying to
That's
correct the
kind of
premises.
our company decision.
Okay, one at a time,
That's
yes,
our company
please.
decision that I'd have to talk to our attorney, because he has a valid point. Like, I would, I'm not saying we're not gonna do anything. If, we take a lot of pride in our relationship with the community and our neighbors. We build houses all over the area, and we wanna have a good relationship with everybody. We don't wanna have an adversarial relationship. If we feel we're at fault for something, we're gonna step up and do what's right. So in this instance, I'll consult an attorney, I'll consult my leadership, but he's right about that. Like, we could level our trailer, the issue will happen again. Because of the way her yard is sloped towards her mobile home. So it's like, if we decide to do something, I would recommend that she also take action to divert water away from her mobile home, to ensure.
We understand the root system and,
Correct, yeah, and not only that, but just the,
but remember, she's lived there since 1978, and she has seen it. You've only been here, what, a year?
but I'm going off the information she told me, that she's been here like for so long, and she's had to level her mobile home 5 different times.
One was Isaac,
No.
one was Katrina, it was 3 times. Isaac, Katrina, and most
But
recently.
I've been building homes for almost 25 years, and one thing we always do is divert water away from the structure. That's like rule number 1. And so when I walk up and see this
All
situation,
right, thank you.
something's wrong.
Thank you. All right, what's the board's wish? Yeah. I don't feel good about it. I'd like to wait.
The issue before us today is a
Right.
cease and desist order.
I think that
And I'm asking Jackie, who is our engineer, to make a recommendation in reference to the cease and desist order. You've looked at their remediation. We don't know, until we actually get the rain, I guess, to find out if it really works or not. What is your recommendation? Based on what they've done, whether we need to remove the cease and desist order?
If we're only looking at the public drainage aspect of this, I believe that they have remediated it. I think the remaining issue is the private issue between Elliott and the neighbor.
Motion to withdraw the cease and desist order.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No. All right, thank you. So you're gonna talk to your lawyer and get with her?
We'll look into it for sure.
I'll be talking to my.
How do you get more look?
Well, there's so many other things too. Should have said that. Number 2, approve the request of Malcolm Jones representing Samuel E. Williams, owner of trailers at Highway 49 Brandon Road Trailer Park located at 18128 Highway 49, Socher, for continuance of the hearing slated November 6, 2023 to December 4th of this year due to his client's medical procedure. Hi, Malcolm.
Morning, Malcolm Jones, 831 East Senior Drive, Pastor's Town. You probably also, my letter that I sent and copy, Mr. Williams, who's representing the estate, had a serious medical condition with his heart. He had to have a procedure, and he's going to be out of commission for a bit. So rather than have the meeting come up on November the 6th, we have to tell you that. I thought I'd come tell you early and ask you to continue it to the December meeting. We have made some good progress in trying to get the resolution of who owns those trailers between the other heirs. So I think that we're going to be in a position to move forward at the first meeting here in December.
So you're asking for a continuance to December or November?
It is set for November 6th. I'm asking that
To
meeting
go to
be
December.
continued to the December meeting, yes.
Motion to. Move for
Second
continuance.
discussion, you're an attorney, so if you don't find out.
Hope
who-
so.
So I'm asking you as an attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Not that, she's not, but if you don't find those owners,
Yes.
what are you gonna do? What can you do?
No, we've found everybody, and we're in discussion with them. In fact, everybody seems to agree in concept to go ahead and allow us to remove those trailers. And so the only thing that will have to happen is I have to get an order signed by the judge in the Chancery case, the estate. So.
To move them?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
And that's gonna cost how much? I mean, well, it's none of my business, but it's private.
Well, it's going to cost us, yes, but
So-
it's nothing to do with the county,
Okay.
right?
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Malcolm.
I have-
Recognizing, anything else?
That's
I have
what-
another matter.
I'm sorry.
At the tail end of the agenda for Pastor Christian, City of Pastor Christian, so I'll wait for that.
Do y'all mind if he does it now so we can let him leave?
But I would just say
I don't
one
think
thing.
there'd be an issue if you want to do it now, Malcolm.
All right, Connie wants to say one thing. before
One
we-
thing, that's what I want for Christmas from you, is all
Okay.
those trailers gone. Okay?
I'll try to be Santa Claus.
Would that be good?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you.
Let's go to your
On a
pass.
Santa hat and
Yeah.
everything.
Thank you.
If it makes him feel more comfortable, let's take that.
Yeah,
order
he won't
that-
have to wait this whole time.
Get it done.
41.
All right, number 41, order authorizing the repair and resurfacing of certain streets within the city of Pasquishan located in Supervisor Voting District 3 as per the terms of the interlocal governmental cooperation agreement between the city and the county. Do we have a motion?
Motion, and I second for discussion, Malcolm, that there was a little thing in there that we set $460 whatever thousand dollars for the cost.
Right.
Those prices are varying by the time we get, now, we're gonna issue, I assume if we issue the purchase order tomorrow, since
Yes.
we're approving this, or even today, once the board approves this,
Right.
that those prices are what they're gonna charge for it,
Right.
correct?
Christian.
Sorry. I was a little bit worried about that, so I put estimated in the order, that the cost is estimated, so if they fluctuate, as they pass
That kind
the
of
cost.
checks us, but I'm not sure that the city of Pasquishan agrees to that.
Well, If it goes up, then we're aware of the fact that it's capped out at the amount that we said that we would pay.
So
So we may get less streets paved.
you'll just have to take less streets paved.
Yes.
Once we reach that cap. That's my concern. because
Yeah,
that-
we're aware of that, but
But if what I'm saying is if the purchase orders they issue today, the company is obligated to perform that service at that cost today.
correct.
Am I right?
That's correct.
So that
It should
that
protect us, but
clarifies
if
it.
not, because it's 100% reimbursement on our part from the city to the county, we understand if we get to that spot, something changes, we're
Well,
limited to
if
that.
necessary, you just reduce the amount of service rather than increase
That,
the
I'll come back
cost.
to you with an increased amount.
Right.
What I will do is I will get with, the road department.
Yes.
Make sure they're aware of that, if when the requisitions go out, that if it exceeds that number, we will
Go ahead.
contact the
Yeah,
city.
on
We'll
that
have
last,
to-
on that last road or whatever it is, yeah.
He's saying just reduce the amount of roads.
But they need to pick which one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have to do
Yeah,
that.
so we'll
We'll
have to,
prioritize the list for you.
yeah, we'll
Okay.
I'll have them get with you,
Thank you,
or whomever you direct.
thank you.
I just wanted to make sure we got all that
No, I
clear.
appreciate that. I do. I don't want those surprises either. I want to have a good Christmas too.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank
Thank you.
you, Malcolm. Okay, going back to the top. Recognizing Brett Bird with Cadence Insurance recommendation to move life insurance coverage to Sun Life. Sun Life's quote is 7% less than the current carrier. Hey, Brett.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good.
All right.
Hey, good morning. So good news, yeah. Lincoln came back with about a 30% increase on the life insurance, which was $20,000 more than you currently pay, and this is what the county pays. The voluntary life stayed the same, so no changes there. We had Hartford and Mutual of Omaha that came in matching rates, and since Sun Life was already here, they gave us a good quote, and we said, hey, it'd be a lot easier if y'all would come in and take this over as well administratively. So they came in 7%. It's about $8,000 a year, roughly, less than the current rate. So,
Right,
Yay.
Yeah.
good for y'all.
Same deductible and everything?
Everything.
yeah, it's the life insurance.
Benefits kind of are staying the same.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the county paid life insurance for the employees. So
All right, thank you.
All right.
Any further discussion?
Need a motion.
We have a motion.
I'll
Motion.
make a second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
do you want me to address number 30 on the list
Are you all
while I'm
set
here?
at 30? Okay, sure. go
Something y'all
ahead.
can knock out?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the transfer from the claims fund. So on the medical, last year, we moved self-funded. The projection was to come in about $1 million from Memorial, thinking the savings would be. The good news is it's still running about $500,000, roughly $500,000 by the end of the year, better than what Blue Cross was. So, but the increase of the claims fund was a $250,000. That was out of that savings we were anticipating. There will be a rebate coming on RX soon, about $150 is what they're estimating now, so that'll come back into it. So really, that's just truing it up, but I think Jennifer wanted to make sure it was addressed.
Yes, the savings are not where it was stated they
Originally.
would be.
Correct.
But we haven't really received any reports yet for what this year to date has been. So we're having to put additional funds in it over and above what we're withholding on the claims.
Yeah. So October,
Is that a
basically,
trend?
it'll end by the end of this
So you're
week.
basically saying the claims,
They
since
are.
we've gone to self-insured,
Yeah.
is less than what we were paying,
It's hard to say, because what we're transferring over each month to pay the claims is basically the same amount that we were paying under Blue Cross Blue Shield, but, because now we're self-funded, when we have these high dollar claim amounts, we have to wait for the reinsurance to come in and that documentation. And sometimes that is it is a process, but sometimes it's a timing thing, but we still need to look at the reports and get quarterly reports to see what the claims paid and the prescriptions paid. versus the premiums withheld and paid into the claim. And until we get that information, it's really difficult to compare what it was with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
So we don't know how it's trending,
I
whether it's
don't know if
trending
this
upward.
is the time to do it or not, but I would like us to really evaluate, and I'm not an expert at insurance and medical insurance and all that, but under our self-insured plan, are our employees getting the same service they were under Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Yes.
Or is it costing them more and
They're either paying exactly the same at the point of service or less. If they go through Memorial or Merit, they're paying virtually nothing for the
Okay,
cost.
so
So
that's-
that was the big benefit in the change. Instead of doing 2 different plans, we integrated all into one. So claims have been higher than we thought, but the same thing would have happened with Blue Cross too.
Yeah,
So the
same
spread's the
thing
spread.
As far as that goes.
Yeah. So, but we've got, probably end of this week, we'll true up the reinsurance for next year, relook at that contract. So that's gonna bring a lot of numbers to light, going forward, here's what we can expect next year.
Yeah, and we don't know that yet.
That's right. That's right.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank y'all.
All right, a vote was not necessary, right? Or it was, oh, yeah. Marla made, do we have a motion and a second?
I think I will make it, whatever.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Marlon and Connie.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries. Okay, recognizing Will Crawford to report on draft audit for last year.
So are you finished with my office that I gotta clean out?
I am finished with your office that you have to clean out. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you, sweetheart. You put everything right back where it was?
I didn't
We
move,
did.
I didn't move a thing.
All my
Right.
whatnots? All my dust catchers? Yeah. Gotta clean it out. Y'all could've just boxed it up while you were at it. I printed it out. Yeah. Can't wait to recess.
Isn't it fun?
I can't wait.
I need to read this right now.
We're gonna discuss it and then you can
Yay.
read it at pleasure. You still got one. All right.
Yikes.
Board, I appreciate the opportunity to come and visit with you today. We have for you today a draft of your 2022 audit report. As you recall, our timing was a bit delayed as we waited on information from the Coliseum, which is next on the agenda, which is exciting. So we have our draft ready. Included in some information that I sent to the administrator and the comptroller this morning. You did adopt a new lease accounting standard this year, which was a little bit different and unique, and there's still one piece of that that I'm still trying to get straightened out as I'm looking at this draft.
So
So,
one question, does the draft include the 2 issues we had in reference to their audit, whether we include it or not? Is it included in this draft?
yes, sir, their audit is
And the
included
second
in
one
this draft.
reference to the letter to the,
S&P?
yeah, the letter from the auditor.
Auditor's office. It will be addressed, yes, sir. I've got it in my comments ready to discuss. It is in the smaller of the 2 documents, not the larger of the 2 documents, but it has been addressed, yes, sir. But this is, I know y'all have a full agenda. When I heard that he was number 41 also, and I'm number 4, so I will cover the high points and let y'all read this at your leisure, but make sure that I address what needs to be addressed as a part of the meeting. Again, the new lease standard was adopted this year. It put your leases for all of your property and equipment onto the books, which have not been there previously. I'm still working something out with that, so the final net position that's reported in this draft could change a little bit. I'll follow back up with a draft to close that number out, as I mentioned in my email this morning. The fund balance numbers that are reported in here for your general fund and your major funds have all been audited. I don't expect any changes there. It showed good, strong bottom lines for the county and the general fund and your special revenue funds and major funds. I think what's important to mention, if we compare this report this year to the report from last year, there were a few findings in last year's report that are not repeated in this year's report. So you're seeing progress made going in the right direction. There is that same paragraph in our opinion associated with the accounts receivable at the circuit clerk's office. They're still working to get that resolved, so that is still an item that is included in this report as a weakness in your internal controls and as a matter of what we call a modified opinion, because we can't audit those
Wasn't there
numbers.
some issues too, with the Justice Court at one time?
That was before our time. I'd have to ask the administrator.
That's been changed several years ago.
Has that been addressed?
That's been several years ago because we went to a new accounting system for them.
Right, okay.
Yes, sir. That was before my time. 2021 was our first audit that we did. So that matter is mentioned in the actual audit opinion itself, just like last year. It would be the same comments as last year. If we go to the back, there are a certain number of procedures the state auditor requires us to do. Those revolve around your purchasing systems and then a relatively lengthy state compliance program requirement. There were 2 comments associated with those that are in the very back of this report. And again, I'm only hitting what I think are the high points or the points that need to be addressed. One of those, the purchasing reports and the purchasing schedules, you had an issue last year where there was something that was not included in your purchasing schedules last year that needed to be. That has been resolved. The purchasing schedules were audited with no exception. Then there were 2 issues that come from the limited internal control and compliance report that are included herein that are repeat comments from last year. One of those is the timeliness of cash deposits from the fairgrounds. I think they're still working to get that resolved. And the other matter was associated with some surety bonds. The state changed the law associated with surety bonds for the purchase clerk. And that amount has been increased subsequent to that law taking place, but had not been updated at September 30th, 2022. So it's been mentioned here. If you compare those surety bonds back to the prior year report, there were a number of matters that were reported in that surety bond section, and those have all been resolved. Everything has been squared away since year end, but that purchase clerk issue was still outstanding at 9/30/22. We also audited your federal expenditures associated with your federal programs with some FEMA money that came through in 2022. I'm sorry, no, FEMA was last year. This was emergency rental assistance. We went through the emergency rental assistance program, had no findings or exceptions associated with that testing. There were no question costs. It all appears well as it relates to the emergency rental assistance program. The smaller of the 2 documents that I provided looks a little bit like a presentation. This is our management letter. This letter includes required communications associated with our professional auditing standards to those charged with governance, which is this board, and also includes some what I call housekeeping or other matters that don't arise to the level of being included in this report. So in this actual report itself, we do mention a handful of matters in here that are not material enough to include in the larger report. We did have one adjustment to book some additional payables that we encountered as a part of our audit, and then had a couple of immaterial items that we refer to as past adjustments. One of those was my calculation on the interest rate swap valuation came out a little different than the specialists who do those calculations. Again, not material, other than just to mention it, that we did have that little difference there. We had a similar difference last year as well. I think their methodology and mine may be a little different, but it's all acceptable at the end of the day. Then we had a few comments associated with internal controls. I had 2 comments associated with IT. I think you've probably all seen the news coming out of Hinds County and some of the issues they've had with their IT systems. We made a few recommendations here associated with some enhancements or some improvements that could be made in the IT systems, and then also include in here a mention of the state auditor demand letter, and then also mention that subsequent restitution was paid. That is included in here to note that demand was issued and repaid, and the county has received those funds. There's also included in here a couple of other items that we refer to as other matters. They're not findings, they're more just FYI best practice type things. We recommend all governments have a fraud hotline in place, an anonymous hotline that someone can call if they want to report any kind of wrongdoing or suspicious activity. Those are highly recommended to all boards, and that's included in here as a general matter. Also recommending, and I think Pam told me that they were working on getting something in place for this, employee performance reviews, trying to have a formal system in place where employees are evaluated on a recurrent basis to make sure that they're getting that feedback they need to be successful in any situation you have where there could be performance improvement needed. That's well documented should the need arise. And then also there's another new accounting standard coming out, and I apologize, I do not make those rules, I just follow those rules. That will take all of, this past year we took all your leases and put those on the books. They're gonna do the same with IT subscriptions. So any type of software that you have a recurring license for, those will have to go on the books as well. Again, I don't know that that adds a lot of value to these statements, but when it comes to accounting standards, it's not the reason why I budgeted or die.
Are you talking about leases about our community centers and all those
Yes.
leases? Okay, great.
No, ma'am.
No.
These are long-term leases in
Oh,
excess
that we
of
have.
12 months.
Oh, okay.
That's leases at the
But-
county.
But the
Oh,
leases
that's
of
not
the
so
fair,
much.
the
Thank you.
leases of fairgrounds, the community centers.
This is gonna be copy machines and buildings that the county leases, anything we pay rent, anything the county pays rent for.
16th section property.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a
But
couple
do
of
we have
buildings that we lease.
And we already have a mechanism then for the leases of the community centers and.
Yes, those are short-term
Okay.
leases. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that
Yeah.
correction.
He was talking about the software.
And all those have to be spread on the minutes?
The leases,
Mhm.
we do.
Okay. All right.
That was an abbreviated report to cover what I thought was important to address as a part of this discussion. As I mentioned, our timing is we'll get everything sent over to the state auditor's office with a plan of getting final reports issued next week. Ms. President, that concludes my prepared remarks, and I apologize for the speed at which I address some of those matters.
No, we appreciate it,
But
Will.
we would love to entertain any questions from anyone.
Thank you so much for
And,
driving all the way from
um,
Jackson.
He does have in here for next year's audit.
Yes, oh yes, thank you, ma'am. I did provide the administrator's office with a quote for next year's audit. And also, included with that, I know you've got some expected turnover coming in the administration office. Included with that, some caveats of those quotes are dependent on basically the same level of work being done by the county as has been done previously. And I'll say this, in some of the other counties that we've worked with, your comptroller and administrator do a wonderful job of keeping things in order. I've gotten reports and reconciliations that are accounting nerd discussion, but they do a lot, and we appreciate that.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. All right, any questions or
I would
discussion?
say you're acknowledging receipt of a draft.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion
Motion.
acknowledging receipt of the draft?
Spreading on the minutes.
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And we'll make one point of order, under our professional accounting rules, those drafts would not be
Release.
released. Those are for your purview, only final reports are
No,
released.
they're on file with the clerk.
That's all we need. Just want to make sure that I addressed that.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Have a safe trip home.
And
All right.
we would need a order as well, have employment, what's employing for next year.
Would we do that now?
Yeah, we would need to hire them to do the audit.
Let's get started.
Does anyone want to make a motion to
Is
audit
it time,
next
is it
year?
time sensitive? Is it necessary for us to do that now?
Jennifer?
Well,
When you have federal funds like we have, and we have a single audit every year, there is a requirement that the audit is completed within 9 months of year end. With that said, we have a deadline of June 30th, 2024 for the completion and final submission of the fiscal year 2023 audit. But as Will had mentioned, we have a new pronouncement with the subscription-based software arrangements. That's going to take whoever the new comptroller is, that's going to take that person some time to do. in addition to the engagement letter, it has some caveat of the level of work that I typically had done for the auditors. The new comptroller will have to have that as well. I have completed certain audit work papers already from the 2023 audit engagement, but there's still a good bit of work that has to be done.
So you're saying that we
should do
might
it.
need to go ahead and.
Well,
do
that's
this?
something to consider, because the new person, whoever y'all decide, is not only gonna have to learn the procedures and processes of Harrison County and the financial condition, but also prepare for the 2023 audit. And that, it's just a time-consuming process.
Okay. I was suggesting we go ahead.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries to, how would we state it? To use the same, employ the,
Employ
Extend
for
another year.
another year.
Fiscal year 2022.
Extend their contract.
extend the contract. All right. Consent agenda, oh, Matt McDonald, sorry. Recognizing Matt McDonald for the presentation of the final audit for the Coast Coliseum.
Thank you. I want to apologize for us delaying y'all. It won't happen again. We'll be starting our 2023 audit in December and should finish it up no later than February.
Okay.
So we'll be ahead of your schedule next year. I might add that this year will get us caught up from all of the delays that COVID created. And it was the best year that the facility has ever had.
Even with COVID.
Even coming out of COVID. Now, the year that we just completed, September 30th of this year, we surpassed that. So we have had 2 phenomenal years in a row. The content that we have on the books now for 24 is substantial. It's going to generate several sellouts that will create a lot of economic impact for Harrison County, Mississippi. That's what I have. Joining me today is our auditor, Bobby Cullenberg, and our CFO, Shelley Ferguson. I'll turn that over to them, and if y'all have any questions, please ask.
As Matt mentioned, we did perform the audit of the September 30th, 2022, and received an unmodified report, which is what you're looking for as commission clean opinion on for the financial statements and compliance with federal awards. We noted no material weaknesses in the financial statements or the compliance with federal awards also, and any the findings from last year were cleared up, so they're looking at a $107 million statement of financial position. As he said, he had a 77% increase in revenues over the prior year, of which he had shows an operating loss of $1.3 million, but $3.5 million is depreciation. So you add back the depreciation, it's strong, considering he has no tax subsidies at all.
It's our
Obviously,
PI
his-
person, she needs to.
She's right
Yeah,
there.
do you hear that? So we could,
Something to brag about.
yeah, something to
Increase.
brag about.
Yeah, all right. Anything else?
77% higher?
77%.
77% higher. Congratulations.
Well, we have a great team. It's all about the people that work for the commission. They buy into what we're doing. We have great relationships with a lot of our show content providers. Our convention center is doing well. We're about to start a grant that will replace all of the lighting in all of the parking lots to high efficiency and high intensity LED lighting, along with security cameras. Governor Reeves also 2 weeks ago awarded us with $1.8 million for more security equipment that will replace equipment that it's not obsolete, but it's old equipment, and there's better technology out there that'll make people feel safer about coming to the events that we host.
Great.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have a motion to accept, acknowledging receipt, spreading upon minutes, the audit for the Coliseum?
Motion to spread on.
Second.
Motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Consent agenda items 6 through 12. Same appearing to be routine, non-controversial matters on which all supervisors are likely to agree. Motion? Do you have a second? Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 13, order approving execution and payment of pay application number 2 to Harrison County Bridge LLC for work done on Menge Avenue and I-10 project in accordance with the development agreement and the attached form of GO requisition in the amount, or GO, requisition in the amount of $544,254.06, payable from 309-100-581. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 14, order accepting the maintenance of the following roads for DeSoto Trail subdivision, Phase 1 and 2, located in Section 36, Township 5 South, Range 11 West, Voting District 5, 2nd Judicial District, Harrison County, recommended by Jacqueline Turner, Harrison County Engineer. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
And these did not include sidewalks, correct? Thank you. So we don't have to repair the sidewalks. We have to repair them smoothly.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 15, order authorizing purchase clerk to advertise for bids for a trailer storage building at the Harrison County Services Complex building being built on Seaway Road. Motion?
Motion.
Second discussion, trailer. What trailer is that? Is that some of the technical stuff?
Correct, yes, sir. The trailer storage is needed for some of the emergency communications equipment, and there would be room also for the EMA trailer as well.
Where are we storing them
Now currently, the EMA trailer is parked at Station 4 on County Farm Road. The communications trailer is at one of the tower storage sites, or one of the tower sites, and it will preserve the longevity of the equipment to get that undercover.
I don't really understand. We're gonna lease a trailer?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's
We're
county
gonna
equipment.
buy a trailer.
The trailers are all county equipment. We need a building.
But it's not like a mobile home. When you say trailer, I'm imagining mobile homes. We don't want any more of that.
Trailer storage building.
A
So it's a
trailer,
building.
a building to store the trailer.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
Okay,
Like truck trailers.
Yes.
gotcha. Okay.
And it's an emergency, when they roll it up and they open it up.
It's got all the
stuff
communication.
in there? Any estimation of the cost?
Gotcha.
We're estimating
125.
125.
Okay.
Boy,
Any
It's not
further
a whole
dis-
barn then, it's a,
No.
it's a building.
No, it's a two-bay metal building and the floor and all the.
Metal building?
accessories.
Okay.
So it's not just a cover, it's a closed-in,
Correct. Protected from
Protected.
security and the elements, and yes, ma'am.
and we wouldn't have just added a big awning onto the back of this big fancy building?
No.
No.
Expensive.
That would probably take you.
Right. This, because emergency communications was included in the project after the building was designed, this is the most cost-effective way
Okay.
to move the equipment.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 16, order approving the agreement to extend professional consulting services with TUSA Consulting Services 2 as recommended by Harrison County Emergency Communications Commission at their meeting on October 17th. Matt?
Motion.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Yes, ma'am. So I'm here on behalf of the commission. They have retained the professional services of TUSA. The contract period ends at the end of this year. And as you know, this is a busy time for us right now, considering the request for proposals that's out, as well as other options on the future of Harrison County's radio system. It would be a great help if we could extend the existing contract month by month until we are through this technical period of evaluating all the different proposals.
Okay, do we have any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 17, order approving a payment of annual rent to the Harrison County School District in the amount of $1,819.41 under the terms of the 16th Section Public School Trust Lands Commercial Lease Agreement, as recommended by Harrison County Communications Commission at their meeting on October 17th, payable from 097-287-530. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion? Okay, all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. 18, order approving travel for Fire Chief Pat Sullivan to attend this year's Mississippi Fire Investigations Association Fall Seminar, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of this year in Vicksburg. Estimated cost $900. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 19,
If I may,
yeah.
we cleared the land, or the land's been cleared, I understand,
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
fire station. So
Yes, ma'am. And the technical work, the geotechnical work and all that is proceeding also, yes, ma'am.
that's for the Traditions Fire Station.
All right. 19, order approving refund in the amount of $150 to Christian Collegiate Academy for cancellation of their August 25th rental of Wool Market football field payable from the proper account. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 20, order approving purchase of lights for Wool Market bocce courts in the amount of $3,150 payable from account 002-100-643. Motion?
Motion.
Second discussion, help old country boy out. What is bocce?
Some kind of ball.
That gentleman right there can fill you in on every bit of it.
Just quickly now.
Yeah, 2
Quickly.
minutes, please.
Quickly.
I'll give myself 1 minute.
Okay.
Anderson, 15217 Shadow
Mr.
Creek Drive,
Anderson.
Wool Market. We thank you all for building the bocce courts since thing 2012. Now they're covered, and now we're asking you to put lights in it. We especially thank county for supporting us. Bocce is a sport that's several thousand years old, actually. It's very popular in Italy, and it's very popular in the Northeast United States and the Midwest, where bars, restaurants have bocce courts
I
in
think
their
I know what
basements.
it is now.
So,
Throw the ball and see, kind of like, it's the ball about this big around.
so
I just have a-
we're promoting it.
It's good for
I also
older, mature people, like myself.
Seniors love it, especially the Iberville Senior Center people. That's one of our favorite
It's-
customers, so to speak.
That's
I'm
right.
also representing the Mississippi Society of Italian Americans, which is a 501c3 company, to promote the Italian culture through bocce. And we appreciate you accepting our donation of $700 to buy the lights. And for completion of this project, we are developing a bocce league throughout the county. And we expect it to be as popular as pickleball.
That's what
All right.
I was fixing to say, y'all gonna be fighting with the pickleball.
Well, they have it all right there in Walmart. There's gonna be a pickleball, and you can walk over to the bocce court.
That's good.
It'll be
And
perfect.
one more thing, we'd like to have not a grand opening, but like a dedication or something like that. And we, meaning the MS Society of Italian Americans, will do that. But we need to go through, I guess, the Parks and Rec people, Bobby Trostler, and so forth to do that.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
We have a-
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 21, what he just mentioned, order approving purchase of materials and installation of lights for Wool Market bocce courts in the amount of $755.31 payable from account 002-100-643. And he mentioned the donation check for the project. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 22, order authorizing transfer of $8,997 from 001-700-921 to 001-700-920 to purchase 3 replacement computers for the zoning department. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 23, recognizing a representative for the sheriff reporting on the number of persons currently housed in Harrison County Jail. Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Right now, we have 609 males, 105 females, 23 juveniles, 19 that are ready to go to the state through NDOC, and 192 that are for NDOC.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 24, authorizing advertisement of food services in the Harris County Law Enforcement Training Academy as recommended by the sheriff. Services will be included in the RFP for inmate food services at the ADC and the JDC. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 25, order authorizing the board president to execute fiscal year 2023 equitable sharing agreement and certification for the asset forfeiture program for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2023, and acknowledging electronic submission of same. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 26, order approving mileage reimbursement for the following employees.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 28, order authorizing the payment of the amount of $531,162.98 to the city of Biloxi for the fourth quarter FY fiscal year 23.
Did you skip 27?
Let her finish this one.
Oh, yeah, I did skip 27, sorry. All right, I'll finish this one. Final payment for Biloxi Ports Bond payable from 078-100-701. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Do that on the.
I know. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, 20.
You vote for it on it.
27, order acknowledging receipt of the September 2023 travel and procurement card as listed. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 29, order authorizing the interfund loans and repayments per attached schedule. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 30, order adjudicating the transfer in the amount of $250,000 from the general fund 001-121-468 to the SAS self-insured medical fund 684-000-323 as additional county match to pay self-insured medical
Okay,
claims.
we already done that. We already done that.
That was Brett.
Oh, that was Brett, number 30, sorry. All right, 31, order approving payment of claims.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 32, order approving claims docket per Mississippi Code 1972, annotated section 191327. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 33, order approving payroll for poll workers and election workers for the November 7th, 2023 general election and runoff election. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 34, resolution approving amendment number 1 to the MOU between Harrison County, City of Biloxi, City of D'Iberville regarding Save Our Sound Coalition Fund and authorizing board president to execute the same. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 35, order approving amendment to the Harrison County Firearm Discharge Ordinance regulating the discharge of firearms in certain specific areas of Harrison County, adopted by the Board of Supervisors October 9th of this year. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 36, order acknowledging receipt of and spreading upon the minutes the resignation letter from Murray Ladner Sr. as a member of the West Harrison Water and Sewer District. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 37, order appointing Andrew Ladner as a member of the West Harrison, another Ladner, West Harrison Water and Sewer District for the term ending 10/30/2028 to replace Mr. Murray Ladner Sr., whose term ended October 2nd, 2020, and who continued to serve at the pleasure of the board until his recent resignation. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Discussion, when God said, go forth and multiply, Ladner's just went after it,
Let me
didn't
put it to you this way. When I was first on the Board of Supervisors, I was criticized for paving roads in front of one of my relatives' house.
he?
And I said, I can't pave a road at all without paving. I'd have to quit paving roads.
I'm just checking.
So, that answers that question, doesn't it?
Okay, yes, sir. Go forward and multiply.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 38, order approving the use of athletic facilities at the North Woolmarket Sports Complex, Orange Grove Baseball Fields, and Three Rivers Road Sports Complex by the Harris County School District for the year 2023 to 24, upcoming softball, baseball, soccer seasons, per the terms of the interlocal agreement with Harrison County Schools and the county. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Now, are they gonna help with some of the maintenance, or isn't it for Harrison County Schools?
It is for Harrison County.
I mean, it is for them, so are they gonna help with some of the
I
keeping
don't,
the?
I don't know.
Did we, I don't know if we mentioned that
That's
when we.
Walmart.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they've never done anything in previous years.
The only question that I would have, they're using, I would assume that's the county's fields?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
that we're
doesn't
paying
com-
rent on.
But what I'm
paying
asking, does it
16,
conflict with their activities, conflict with the use for the county? Folks?
I think,
Little leagues or whatever uses
good
those
question.
fields?
did this go through, usually Bobby keeps that straight,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't know,
I believe that's how
if Bobby put this on here, did he? Do you know who put this on here?
I don't.
Then I don't have a problem with it, but I was just, we do rent, I don't know how the comptroller might chime in on that, but,
Yeah.
but we pay rent to the schools, and then
That's 16, you're talking about 16th section.
Yes.
So we're paying
all,
yeah,
all of
that's
mine are on the
16
16th
section
section.
leases for those facilities. We got several.
It's not a large amount that we pay each year, but,
It's fine. And it's for the babies, so I don't have a problem with it.
And it's Orange Grove too.
Yeah, it's Orange Grove.
And Three Rivers.
And Three Rivers. Yeah, is that 16th section?
No, that's
That is-
school property. Well, Three Rivers is school property.
We're renting it from them.
No, we don't pay.
You have a point that we
It's
pay-
not 16
Okay.
section land, Three Rivers, it's not.
Do we pay,
It's owned
do we
by-
pay a rental?
We don't pay anything. I think
Anything
that's
to the
what
school
agreement
itself?
was.
It's different than 16th section.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 39, order approving travel for any supervisor and supervisor-elect to attend the 2023 new term orientation, December 6th and 7th, 2023, in Flowood, Mississippi. Estimated cost $450 each. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
You going, Mark?
I just want to point out, is anyone reaching out to them? Like, how will they know?
Yeah, they know, they're aware of it.
They're aware, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And Bobby Trustler's obviously watching, because he just said, to answer your question, their dates do not conflict with our
Okay.
sports. All right.
As long as he sent it, he usually takes care of all that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who put it on there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know.
And with Mandy here, I wasn't sure. Number 40, order approving Gulf States Engineering, Inc. fee proposal for Gulfport Courthouse asbestos testing, not to exceed $4,000, authorizing board president to execute. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 41, order.
That's the one that's the
Oh,
one we
yeah, we
did
did
with
that.
Malcolm.
Done. Even though I wrote myself notes, I still can't remember. 41. 42. Order authorizing and approving the repair resurfacing of Terra Lane within the city of Biloxi located in Supervisor District 1 as per the interlocal governmental agreement between the city and the county. Motion.
Motion.
Discussion?
Understand?
Yeah, Kent did. All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 43, order approving replacement of lights and decorations in the amount of $1,057.98 for the annual District 5 Christmas in the Park event to be held on December 1st, and authorizing county administrator to transfer $1,057.98 from escrow account 002-900-950 into account 001-000-387, an authorized budget amendment for Parks and Rec.
Motion?
Second.
Second, just why do we transfer accounts? Why can't it be just paid out of the escrow?
That's what
I'm
it
just
is.
curious.
You can pay it out of.
Why do we do that? Why do we transfer?
Yeah, why do we do that?
And we just want to make a record of, y'all have to approve it first.
Go
So we
ahead.
can just take out.
Tighten it up.
The transfer out of Parks and
So
Rec.
that you
Because
know
Parks and
where
Rec
it
is the
went
one that,
and what it's spent for. and what
Wait,
we do.
why would Parks and Recs, why would it come out of their
because
budget?
they're the ones that,
They're part of Parks.
decorated and they
Wait,
keep
two of
up.
y'all are talking.
They're the ones that do the decorating for the Parks and Rec. It's in the Parks and Rec and they keep up with the inventory for
Okay.
it. I guess they store.
So any
I guess they
decorations or any
store it.
party that we decide to hold in a park, it has to come from the Parks and Recs budget?
Well, it doesn't come from them
Oh.
now.
It's not a party. They select, that all the kids in the
It's
neighborhood.
coming from
come out.
escrow.
I mean, not neighborhood, but all the Woolmarket comes out.
What
and
they simply
turn the
doing
lights
is
on and
making
see
an
the
amendment to the
decoration.
budget, I'm taking out of escrow and putting it in Parks and Recreation.
Gotcha. That's what I was asking.
You're not taking it out of Parks and
You're not taking it out of
Recreation.
parks, you're
Right.
refunding it. Okay.
Refunding.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. 44, order adjudicating and authorizing expenditures as listed necessary to advertise, bringing in favorable notice, opportunities, possibilities, resources of Harrison County, including all forms of advertising, broadcast, recognition of logo, publicity, collateral, and all media and signage along with the link to Harrison County online. Motion.
Motion.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
That's it.
Ms. Tisha, you got anything?
Addendum?
Oh, right. Sorry. Addendum. Order accepting MDOT's grant award for this year, for a 2023 six-passenger ADA Braun Ability Voyager van, total cost $74,221, authorizing the 20% local match payment in the amount of $14,844.20, and budget amendment for the Senior Resources Agency. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And which center does this go to? Ms. Janet? I'm sorry, which, do you know? Which center will this be going to? Just kind of shared with all of them? The MDOT van for ADA?
Yes, that'll be for all the centers,
Whoever needs it?
yes.
Okay.
Well, how many will that give you? Jen? Is that?
It'll give us one van and then it'll give us 4 buses.
Cool.
Because now, right now, we're having, a lot of them, they're having to use 2 buses for each trip. They have that many.
Congratulations on all the money that you received for federal money to run the program. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think it doubled, not double, but it increased from a few years ago.
Do you have anything, John?
I'd like Connie to congratulate me.
What do you want me, what do you want?
I just
for
want to
it?
say thank y'all, board, for having this 3rd meeting. You see, we needed it. So
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations, John, on that
Not
decision.
anything, no.
All right, Supervisor Jones? And all I have is, my MGCCC Commissioner, Gaylette Shipman, her husband got transferred, unfortunately, so they moved out of state. I wanted to appoint Linda Sherman as my MGCCC Commissioner.
Linda Sherman's her name.
She was on the Memorial Board and tons of things.
Which commission is this?
MGCCC Community College.
Oh, yeah, motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
She's
Any
a-
discussion?
What was the person she replaced?
Gaylette Shipman. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Linda Sherman.
Oh, really? Oh, she's a different one though. She's from out
Yeah.
of state probably.
This is from North Mississippi.
Do you have anything, Supervisor Rocco? Ms. Aldrich? Okay, thank you. That does it for us. Thanks, everybody.
Next week.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Paula,
We
sweet
got
Paula.
Yeah.
Sorry, sweet Paula. Come talk to us about your contract.
After all that discussion.
Julie wrote it here.
Good morning, everybody.
Hello.
As y'all may well remember, or you may not remember, you approved in my budget to have Cell Tower Solutions come and appraise our cell towers throughout the county. Okay, so you approved that in my budget, but what I didn't want to leave out, and what Trish brought to my attention too, was the fact that if for any reason there is an appeal after we do the appraisal and we get an appeal before you, the actual appeal is included in the cost of the contract. But if they have to go back out to the field with a representative from the cell tower company, they are saying in this contract that there would be an extra charge for that if they had to go back out to the cell tower site. But the only reason that, from my understanding, that they would have to go back out to the cell tower site is if the owner of the cell tower is appealing our value, and maybe there's like a box at the end of the tower. It's like an enclosure where they keep some type of equipment, but Walt said there's not really anything kept in those boxes. If for some reason that we needed to get into the boxes, they would have to go to the field to see them, to have the cell tower representative go with them. So that would not be included in the original contract price.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Why would it be necessary unless the board wanted to know that information? For example, if the cell tower company comes to the board to appeal their tax evaluation, their property valuation, and we listen to everybody, and we got your information based on the contractor telling you.
Right.
And we say, we deny or approve, well, I mean, if we deny, what would be incumbent upon having the contractor go back out there? If the guy wants to appeal it, that's his problem.
Yeah, that would be on him, I would assume. That's what you mean, Mark.
Kind of what I'm saying.
If there was a dispute
have to-
and they're saying, we have something different than what they actually have out there, and it's well, I don't know what can happen. I just want to make sure that y'all all know that there's a chance that there could be more money involved. And Walt has presented information to back that up that it's not likely, but I don't want to leave anything out in the contract. Now, if there was an appeal to the courts, that also is extra, and I just want to make sure y'all understand that too. And I sent all this information by email to y'all last week before, and I didn't have a response. But before we sign this contract, Tricia brought this information up to me, brought it to my attention, and I just want to make sure that we're all on board about what possibly could happen if there is an appeal. If there's an appeal to you all, and if there's an appeal to
The
a higher
likelihood
court.
is more likely we would have to cost extra for an appeal.
Correct.
Now,
Yeah.
did you get a chance to look at the fees listed in that appeal? If there were an appeal, were those fees reasonable is what I'm asking you. Y'all would know, for example,
Trish,
expert testimony.
Here's the contract, I highlighted some of that about the appeals,
Yeah,
the
that's
cost.
if we have to pay for expert testimony, are those fees reasonable?
Yes, because, the total contract right now is $315,000.
Right.
$315,000, and the appeal cost would be, 50 cents a mile, $100 a day per diem, and then the hour is, $250 plus expenses.
So that's generally.
I'm
you
no
don't see
expert in
that as-
this, but I
You
don't
don't
think
see
it's.
that as excessive.
I don't think so.
All right,
What
thank
about
you.
you, Paula? Have you ever dealt with that before?
No, this is all new.
Oh, okay, all new, okay.
I
So you don't
think
know either.
it's-
Can you call around maybe and ask if that's common?
And Trish probably would
somebody.
know.
If it's common, what the
From a-
common fees are?
I don't know about an appraiser for, but if you're talking about an expert in that field, if you you take, for instance, just a real estate appraisal is over $500. Just for a single appraisal that's not nearly as tedious as this. And if you're in a courtroom, you're paying for the time. I'll be glad to try to call somebody, but I don't know another cell phone. I don't know.
Okay.
I just don't think it's that unreasonable.
Or what another county might have dealt with.
I think based on what we hear, we need to go ahead and consummate the contract part to
And
do
the
that.
prices are only good through December.
Yeah.
For us to be able to sign, to get the sign, the
I think
contract
we'll
signed.
find
So I
out
just
it's a
think we need to
benefit.
move
It
forward.
will be a
but-
benefit to us because like Paul and them say, they don't have the expertise that these guys have to evaluate that value.
So if y'all are good, then I guess, Trish can go forward with the contract and.
I'm good with it. I don't know about the
Yeah.
rest of them.
Okay.
I'm fine with it. Do we need to make a motion to?
Move forward?
Yeah.
Execution of the contract. Approving the execution.
I would go ahead
I
and
make a
make that
motion that
motion.
we accept the contract.
Okay, Rocco then Lynn. Any
Second.
further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
We'll find out.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
We're having lunch today. I'd like to say.